back to the channel. Today I'm working on an Exmark zero turn. It's the XS diesel 60-inch cut fabricated deck. Let me show you what's wrong with the zero turn. So I got the parking brake engaged. I'll turn the key. I'll put the throttle till at about a quarter. I'll activate the glow plug heater for about 15 seconds. You can hear the engine glow plug timer. Okay, and then I'll turn the key. So it starts for about 2 seconds and then it shuts off. I'll do it again. Okay, so that's what's going on with the zero turn. I'm going to try to figure out what's wrong. So now what I'm going to do is come back here. I'm going to raise the back end of this motor cover. So there's a little latch here. Move this up. Slide that over, and then make sure that this this metal rod is up and like perfectly vertical, because this is a heavy unit. Right underneath is the radiator and the radiator fan. Inside this particular zero turn uses a 3-cylinder diesel engine, so it's it's a heavy-duty, robust unit. So we're just going to raise this up, and now we're going to go over here. I'm going to expose the engine. So in order to do that, there's a tab down here. Push down on that tab. Okay, move the seat up. Okay, so now what we're going to do to get access to the engine, we're going to remove this guard. So you just flip up on these two tabs. Pull this out and lift up this metal guard like this, and then there you have it. Here's the front of the engine right here. My trouble light broke. I dropped it on the ground, so I'm going to use my cell phone here. So this is the front of the engine. So right about here is the injector pump. So the injector pump, what it does on a diesel is that it takes the diesel fuel, it increases the pressure, it compresses the fuel, and then sends that pressurized fuel through these metal lines into the combustion chamber of the engine. So one of the uniquenesses of these engines is this lever right here. This lever here is the mechanism that either allows the flow of the diesel fluid or cuts the flow of diesel fluid. So in this position right here, this would be allowing the flow of diesel fluid to occur. In this position like this cuts the flow of diesel fluid. So what I'm going to show you with the engine guard removed is what's going on with this unit right here. This is called the fuel solenoid. This fuel solenoid uses an electrical current to actuate a shaft that when the engine is running, it extends this shaft so that this lever remains in this position. Because this is a diesel unit and it doesn't have spark plugs, in order to shut off the motor when you turn the key to off, it eliminates the electricity to this solenoid, and there's a spring inside. It then draws the metal shaft back inward through that spring, and therefore cuts the flow of diesel fluid and then shuts the engine off. So as we demonstrated in the beginning when I was sitting in the chair what was going on, pay attention to this area right here when I try to start the tractor or try to start the zero turn again. I'll turn the key on run. I'll actuate the glow plugs a bit just to warm them up. Okay, so pay attention to what this thing does right now, okay? I'll do it one more time. One more time. There you have it. So what's happening here is, for some reason, this unit allows temporarily the engine to start by extending the shaft out, thus letting the fuel to circulate. But after the engine starts up, it's closing. Okay, so what I'd like to do is show you the replacement unit that I have on my desk over here. So here's here's a brand new fuel solenoid. We'll just quickly go over some of the wires. So this is a three wire unit. There's this wire here, a red wire with this kind of connector here, and then there's a black wire with an eyelet hook like this. So this is a brand new unit, and as you can see, in the off position, the shaft is fully retracted, and that's due to a spring on inside here, underneath or inside this boot. Once the electricity is added to a coil inside, what will happen is that this shaft will actually shoot out. It will extend out. So I think this is the problem with this zero turn. So we're gonna launch into swapping this unit off. So let's begin. I'm going to use my quarter-inch ratchet, quarter-inch extension, and I believe I need a number 10 socket, and we'll start taking this off. So follow me. Okay, keys on off. What I'm going to do first is remove this connector. The unit is positioned right here. So here's the 3 wires. Let's deal with this red one. So there's a little pin here. So you lift up on that tab. Don't pull it too far back because it will break. It's just plastic. So that's off. There's two 10 millimeter bolts that hold the solenoid in place. There's one here and then there's one here. So we'll take that off. Put those aside. So there's that one wire. Here's another eyelet, and then there's one side of the bracket exposed, and I'll remove this one. Okay, so that other bolt is off. And now, should just be able to lift this up. As you can see, there's a pin here. This pin on the end just has to grab into this part here of the bracket. Okay, and then I have one other additional wire. So this one right here in this protective plastic sleeve. And where this wire is connected to is it's terminated to the one side of the starter solenoid. So I'm going to change out my socket. I think it's, so let's take that side off next. Okay, so now I've changed my socket to a number 12 millimeter. What I'm going to do now is remove a 12 millimeter nut that's attached to the starter solenoid. So the starter solenoid, when you turn the key to the start position, of course there's 12 volts going to the starter that turns the motor over, but for a short period of time 12 volts is actually sent from the solenoid over to the fuel solenoid over here. So what I'm going to do is just remove that nut so I can free up that wire. So I got the nut loosened off. So I took the ratchet off, and I should be able to take the rest off by hand. Okay, so once you loosen the nut, you'll see that this is what you're left with. So this is the contact of that wire that I was telling you about, that is going to that terminal on the solenoid. So you don't need to remove that nut altogether. There's a slot in the connector, so if you loosen it off, you can just pull the wire right off the terminal on the solenoid. So once you have that off, we should be able to just take the whole unit off the tractor now. Okay, so let's go to the workbench. So as you can see, here's the new one, here's the old one. I'm relieved to know that at least I ordered the right one. So I'll put that aside, and I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about this. So there's a boot, and then inside there's the shaft. And as you can see, whenever there's current sent to this unit, this shaft extends out. And as you can see, whenever the power is off, the shaft retracts. The shaft retracts thanks to a spring, and that spring is held in place with a retainer clip. So if I grab a pair of needle nose pliers, so let's remove this. So what I'll do is I'll remove this retainer clip, and make sure when you're working on things with springs, make sure you wear safety glasses. You want to make sure you protect your eyes. Okay, so here's the retainer. Here's that spring I was telling you about. Okay, and here's the shaft. For this to come out, probably have to unscrew this part here. Let's see if I can hold that. Let me get a wrench. So I'll just put a pair of pliers on here like this, grab a 5/8, and see if we can just unscrew this connector here. There we go. Okay, so here's that unscrewed. Here's a little lock nut, I guess, just to keep that from coming off. And then, bingo, there you go. Here's the shaft on the inside. And this is what the solenoid looks like on the inside. It's just a cavity. So through the wonder of electrically induced magnetic fields, this is how you shut off your diesel engine when you turn the key to off. All right, so enough talk. Let's put the new one in place. I guess what I'll do with the new one is just repeat exactly what I did to take the old one off. I'll start by attaching this wire. I'll then install this on the tractor or on the zero turn and then make my connections. So let's go put it in place. Let's attach this lead. So we'll lay this inside underneath this wire, or underneath this main wiring harness. And this has to go, like this. Okay. So this goes about more or less in that position. And I'll get my tools ready here. Okay, so that wire on the solenoid is connected. The white wire is terminated on the starter, so then we're just going to get this in position up front. Here's the mounting spot here on the engine. Hold the light and then maybe just shine on here. Okay, so remember this goes like this. What you want to do is make sure this pin, so this pin here, it has to situate right in this plate position here. So make sure you get that lined up in there like that. And then, okay, and then that's going to go like that. So just going to put some anti-seize paste on these 10mm bolts. Okay, just thread that in. What I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to put a washer on this. So come on in here. So as you can see, I put that one bolt in with a washer. Now the next one has this wire and this wire. Okay, and might have to just move that a bit to line up the bolts. So what I'm gonna do is, there we go. Just need to get it started. No, that doesn't look too good. That doesn't. I think that has to go like that. That looks good there. Gotta go back to the 10mm. Okay, so that strap looks good there. If I put that like that, let's see what it looks like if I go like this. Just keep it away from the heat of the engine. So we'll put that up like this. Okay. You don't have to put, just, whoops. Don't over tighten these, because It just uses small machine threads. Okay, you just need to make sure, you know, use common sense. Okay, that's good. And that's good. Now, that was a 3-wire unit. So we have to come back in with your light and your camera. So we need to make the connection on our red wire. The red wire is over here. Okay. And now I'll just terminate this like this. That looks okay in there. Okay, you heard the click. Okay, tuck that in. This is a plastic fan, so you want to make sure that nothing gets too close to that. Okay, you want to also make sure that our pin is actually localized inside or properly. Okay, so that seems to work fine. All right, we'll reinstall the shroud or the engine shield. This shield just attaches, just slides into these 2 dowel pins right here, down in there, and then these up here, these rubber pins, they locate in here. That looks good. So push it in, push down. Whoops. Maybe for starters we'll get it in there first. And they're like that. Push down, in, push down. Let's have a look from the back side to see if those are in properly. I'd say that one's in well, but this one doesn't. See, that one's not in correctly, but that one over there is. So let's go back and do this one. Come on. Something there. Make sure it's seated. Good. We didn't leave anything inside the engine compartment. Lower the seat. Okay, we'll lower the hood. Okay. All right. Moment of truth. Get back on the tractor. Make sure your parking brake is in place. Make sure your bars are out. Turn the key. Glow plug for 15 seconds. Start. Okay, well, there you have it. In this video, we kind of went step by step how to replace the fuel solenoid on an Exmark diesel zero turn. It was, in terms of complexity, it wasn't that difficult. You know, 2 bolts, three terminations. The most difficult aspect of this repair was the troubleshooting. Because there are, you know, a multitude of safety switches on the seat, on the handlebars, on the parking release. I had to go through all the steps to make sure that it wasn't a fault of those safety switches that was triggering the fuel solenoid. But overall, you know, this video may come in handy for you if you've already identified that this is the problem on your unit. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to jump on the zero turn now and cut some grass. So stay tuned to the next video, and until then, have a great day.